People who live on K Street Southwest in Ardmore woke up to the sound of sirens and then saw flames taking over this house behind me.
As soon as I opened my eyes, just flashing lights everywhere. And as soon as I opened the door, you could see the house, the entire roof was just engulfed in flames.
Ardmore firefighters arrived at the scene around 2:20 Tuesday morning and found no one in the house but flames stretching to neighboring homes.
Just very thankful that some dogs started barking and woke people up, because I think it was really close to certainly one or possibly two other houses.
Some neighbors told K10 they believe the man living in the house may have intentionally started the fire.
He has been squatting that house for some time. He has mental illness issues. We've been working for many months, investing a lot of time to try to address that, out of really just constant fear, knowing his behavior, knowing some of the things that he's done in the past, living in constant fear that he's going to do something like this.
It could take several days for the fire department to determine what caused it.
The fire marshal always looks at every angle at that. So, that's why we're not ready to make a determination on what the cause truly was at this time.
Snyder says he and other neighbors have contacted police and other agencies regarding concerning behavior from the man living at 428 K Street.
The answer is pretty much, well, we're very limited in what we can do. So at best, he might get taken in for a day or two, maybe for some sort of treatment, and then brought back, and the cycle starts over again.
In Ardmore, Lexy French, K10 News. Good morning, Tiger. We're here at Charles Evans Elementary, and students are going to be showing up soon for their first day back to school. I'm here with Superintendent Jill Day. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Absolutely.
Well, you tell us, I know today kids are getting back in the classroom, so what can parents and students expect this school year? Any exciting changes or plans that you guys have?
We do have some exciting changes. Our school times have changed for different buildings. We also have transitioned from regular elementary first through fifth grade to grade centers. So that's going to be new this year. It's going to be exciting. It'll be a challenge the first few weeks. Things for parents and students to get used to. Our teachers are excited to have all grade, certain grade level together and get to work together, collaborate, plan, that kind of thing. So we're excited about that.
Great. And so for you, what's your favorite part of this time of the year when summer comes to a close and students start getting back on campus?
Just getting back into our routine, seeing our smiling faces of kids and being excited to be back with their friends. And we have some new projects going on. We're working with professional learning communities, PLC teams, and our teachers have really bought in and are excited about it. And I think we're going to see all kinds of growth from that.
Great. Well, it sounds like Ardmore City Schools are off to a great start to the year. Thank you again for being here with us. Nobody was injured in a crash that happened this morning at the Crazy Corner intersection in Ada. The assistant fire chief says that crashes aren't uncommon at this intersection, as a railroad track runs right through the middle of it.
I didn't know that there wasn't any train guards until one day a train was flying through at full speed with its horn blaring, and I was driving quickly to get out of the way.
The crash involving a semi-truck and train happened just before 8:30 Tuesday morning.
The tractor was positioned on the south side of the train, and the trailer was positioned on the north side of the train. For this type of incident at this intersection, it was the best possible outcome. No injuries to the train staff or to the driver.
The railroad crossing does have bells and flashing lights to alert drivers, but there's not a gate.
It is a blind intersection if you're going southbound and northbound through the intersection. As the train's coming around a corner, it's hard to see. So if you see any flashing lights, please park at least 3 feet back from where the train track is.
Some drivers would like to see more safety measures put in place.
There is no train safety guard, and if you're not paying completely attention, then you have no idea when a train is coming. So I think that, a new safety plan needs to be implemented in this intersection.
BNSF personnel were on scene to inspect the train tracks and make sure it was safe to continue on its way. In Ada, Lexy French, K10 News. Abby, I'm here in Wilson near Highway 70. I spoke with the Carter County Emergency Management Director this morning, and he said most of the damage that's been reported from last night's storm here in Carter County has been in the Wilson and Healdton area. And for the most part, that's been damaged trees and downed power poles, along with some damage to roofs and a couple of barns in the county. Now, OG&E is reporting that around 8,000 customers are still without power this morning. They have crews out working to restore that power and fix those downed power poles. Coming up later today on K10, we'll take a look at some of the damage here in Carter County and in Love County. Bailey? The civil rights lawsuit against a Tri-County school for students with special needs stems from an incident in May of 2022 when a teacher's assistant was found in a closet alone with a young girl.
And we just want to make sure that it doesn't happen to anybody else.
Healdton police were called to the Tri-County school on May 4th, 2022, after an employee found Logan Smith, an assistant teacher, alone in a closet with a 16-year-old girl.
A civil rights lawsuit against the school because the school knew about him prior to this incident. One of her classmates actually was the victim. The superintendent sort of dismissed those accounts, said that there must be some misunderstanding.
According to the police report, Smith told officers that he and the girl were poking each other while in the closet with the door closed. When police asked Smith if he got sexual gratification from the incident, Smith stated yes, he did, but that he didn't touch her in private areas of her body. He then told police he would have done more sexual actions with the girl if he had not been caught. Criminal charges were filed against Smith in Carter County. However, the judge dismissed the case.
It was very upsetting. It was very upsetting. I mean, because pretty much they told us it didn't go far enough. So, I mean, that is really upsetting to think that just because it was caught and didn't go any further than it did, that he can't be charged because it didn't go far enough.
The child was unable to testify in court as she's nonverbal and can pronounce very few words.
These children, they can't speak for themselves, so somebody's got to, watch after them and speak for them, and you hope that they go to school and they're protected, but that's not always the case.
We reached out to the Tri-County Interlocal Co-op School for comment on the lawsuit, but have not received a response. In the Ardmore newsroom, Lexy French, K10 News. Something as simple as using an air fryer instead of your oven and raising the temperature in your house even 1 degree can lead to savings on your next energy bill.
We turn the air up because you got to save, the way prices are now.
The best time to raise the temperature in your house is between 2 and 7 p.m.
It's the peak of the heat. It's also the peak of energy usage, which is, how things work when your energy bill comes around. Raise the thermostat as high as you're comfortable with. Every 1 degree higher can save up to 3% on your energy costs.
Giving the air conditioner a break and turning to ceiling fans when possible can also lower energy costs.
I run a fan. I use fans all over the house instead of running the air conditioner all the time. They're cheaper. It's a lot cheaper, especially when the electricity's at the high rate at 48 cents per kilowatt.
Using alternative appliances instead of the oven will cut energy usage without having to raise the temperature inside.
Things you don't really think about when it's 105 outside is your oven. You don't think about that, but it really uses a ton of energy, particularly in that 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock window when energy usage is at its highest. Your microwave actually uses 70% less than an oven, as well as a slow cooker.
Cunningham suggests pre-cooling homes before peak hours and using curtains and drapes during the day to sustain the temperature. In Ardmore, Lexy French, K10 News. The audit report for the state of Oklahoma's fiscal year ending June 30th of 2021 shows that more than $29 million in federal funds were misspent due to improper oversight by state officials.
Whoever did not get the money that was supposed to during the COVID outbreak, the people who took it, they should be in prison because there are still people suffering today who did not get the money that they were supposed to get during COVID.
$12.2 million in CARES Act funds were questioned by the state auditor and inspector, partly because the state failed to provide sufficient documentation ensuring that the payments were made for COVID-related expenditures. Costs associated with the governor's Emergency Education Relief Fund were also highlighted in the audit report.
We found that awards were provided to 1,073 students whose family attested that they had not suffered an economic hardship due to COVID. So we questioned $6.5 million. And we also found that 657 students of low-income families who did qualify for this program did not get the financial assistance requested because the funds had been exhausted.
In addition, the SIA reported that $1.8 million from the Bridge the Gap program was misspent. That program was designed to help low-income families purchase education supplies for their children to effectively learn at home during COVID.
The individual who was put in charge of overseeing that part of the grant did not take advantage of the system controls. And because there were no controls in place, families were allowed to make purchases that had nothing to do with educational purposes.
The federal government does have the option to make the state pay back misspent money.
And if that happens, that will be you and I paying back these funds that were misspent.
In Ardmore, Lexy French, K10 News.